So a lot of you know, if you are part of the SO group, so by now, by default, I don't even have to say where I am. All I have to say is if I say where I am, you know where I am. So that's where we are. So anyone from the SO group knows exactly where we are here. Now, the AKA got the inside out. The AKA got the upside down. I have to turn it around. So like I was saying, so based on that alone, based on the fact that we are now, like I just said, on a different location, yeah? So you have to understand that sometimes, depending on the locations, there's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes, okay? Things that maybe you're not even aware of. That means you're in higher thoughts. There's a plane, okay? So for someone, they may interpret that as noise. You know, they'll be like, hiyo ndege inanipigia kelele kwa nini? No. It means whatever we are about to say or to what we are talking about is a very high thought. That's why the plane is going above and you can even hear the birds. So that's how you interpret it. Now, so every system and position that you are in life is a number. There's a certain frequency happening behind it. That is even why you have area codes. That is even why now you have your counties and you number them with numbers. You say, oh, 001, oh, 002. Now you have to understand that these are not just numbers, okay? The numbers themselves, each is upholding its own frequency behind the number. So, for example, let's say you are living on area code, or let me give you an example. So I'll give you an example when they came with the coding, okay? When the colonialists, when they came to this country, if you went to KBS, like if you use those buses, the KBS, Kenya Bus Service and everything, you'll understand that the coding and the numberings of the bus, the KBS, was not by default. For example, bus number 1 for KBS used to go to Karen, okay? Just based on that single fact is that number 1, okay, Karen was for people who feel very individualistic. They feel like they are the millionaires. They feel like that's their place. They feel like they own the country. Akina Karen, where you got the name from, the people who are growing the coffee, all the way to all the Wellingtons and all the white people who settled in Karen, the prime, the place to be, okay? So by that bus number being number 1, by default, the energy frequency behind bus number 1 will be individuality, being self-centered, being an individual, 1 point of reference. But you have to understand that 0 is something, 0 is 1, 0 is actually 1, esoterically speaking. So it's just a space. So that space of 1, bus number 1, by default, it had to go to Karen, people who are individual, people who are more about self. They feel we are the white people, so we own this country, okay? So we own this city. So we are going to allocate ourselves bus number 1, KBS. So based on that, then you take each and every part of a number, of the naming, of the roots, and then you understand why Kibera had to be number 8. So Kibera, the people in Kibera are stuck in a rotation, a loop. That's why they're in a slum. They never seem to know how to get out of the slum. They never know how to get out of that area. They are stuck in that 8, paying attention, a loop, something that keeps going down in itself, and what you call infinity number, the metaverse, and all that drama. So if you take another route, let's say you take route 102, 102 will be the route that you pass through Dagoretti to go to Kikuyu. Remember, route number 2, which is Dagoretti, would be number 2. So what was Dagoretti? Dagoretti was the Great Corner. So from number 1, Karen bus number 1, you go to 2, the Great Corner, since it's connected to Karen from the other side, aka Karen End, where you have Resurrection Garden around that area. Karide. Karide means Karen End. So going from Karen End all the way to Dagoretti, the Great Corner, when you're coming back this way, but on the other side you are going to the great market, aka the great market where you used to have cattle up to date. Daguretine kwa ng'ombe, ni kwa nyama. You getting it? So to go to Kikuyu, you have to go from route number 1, get into a space, a 0, to get to Kikuyu, a second place. That is why they had the missionary there. That is why they had the great church there. That was another part whereby they had great interest. So you take 1, individuality, put it in a space, 0. Now you are making it a compound number. You are adding value. Every time you add a compound number, every time you add a number, you are adding value. When you are adding value, that is geometry. When you are deducting, it's numerology. So when you add 0, you are adding a space. So you have 1 in a bigger space going to 2. You are bypassing the Dagoretti. So by default, the Church of the Torch had to be in Kikuyu. They had an interest there. They had their church there. When you go to Ngong, what is Ngong? Ngong is 111, aka 111. So 1 has to pass through Karen 1. Okay? Then you separate it. Now you give it an addition. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So what is 2? Duality. Separating. So you are separating Ngong from 1. It's not 1 Karen. It's 1 plus 1, 2. And then it has to go to another 1, which makes it 3, aka it's surrounding. So 111 will be Karen 1 plus 1, which is 2, separation from the 1 to Ngong, which is 111, aka 3, your surroundings. Okay? But now you have to understand how it makes you feel, like each and every letter, like 100, 101, and things like those. Now, once you know that numbers, area codes, all the way to the gangs, wherever they are, where you have gang wars and everything, now take all that energy back and bring it to now the court systems, whereby you go, there's a judge. So what do the judge do? The judge, they make you close your heart. Okay? So by default, that is a ritual in itself. And I close my heart and I hope to shout out whoever did that song. You're not going to say that word. You see, we're in a hospital. You can't be putting spells on such kind of spells of closing your heart and hoping to transform when you're around a hospital. Okay, we have weak spirits here. Every time people are in hospitals, they are feeling weak. They have a weakness of something. Their body is weak, so they have to come to a hospital for an extra care, to recharge, to be put in a what do you call them? To be put in a ward whereby they can be fed either through tubes. They need more water added into them. They need their chakras realigned. Okay, so already you're in the position of weak people. So whether the sickness is a manifestation of the mind or not is none of our business. So you have to be very careful with the words you mention around a hospital. Now, when they make you close your heart, they are making you pass a spell whereby you're allowing that judge to be the judge. So when you go before a court and you close your heart and you say some words, you are allowing the judge, you are giving up your energy, you are telling the judge to give you a judgment day. Since by default you have accepted to be at the court place. So your hands, your life, everything ahead of you has to be, you are given a judgment day by that judge. Now, different forms of numbers will always be working around you. That is why some people are going to hit the lottery, win the ticket and things like that. Now, based on your rotation, and now you have to pay attention. So based on the rotations, aka your age, your birthdays, how old you are aging, your however many times you are taking around the consciousness of the sun, now your age now gives you a different number or vibration, and this is even why now you get out of your age mate. Now you have your friends. Now you feel you have outgrown your friends. Now your friends are no longer relevant. Now your friends are immature. So you no longer want to be seen with those friends. This is just based on your rotation and the number that is attached to your age, aka now you are 40. So you are going through midlife crisis, okay? And 40 in itself. Shout out to the fourth floor. Shout out to the fourth floor. So 4 already in itself is a magic square. Okay, it's the energy of that you yourself being in that seal, and then now you're putting it into a bigger space. So if you haven't gotten your mind right, by default you'll be in a position whereby you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say about it. Okay, now, so when they make you repeat some things, aka they make you say I pledge a pledge of allegiance to the country, they say they make you swear some words, especially for the police and the army, what you are doing is that you are upholding that spell. So that becomes a spell, okay? A pledge of loyalty, something you keep repeating, a national anthem. Because those national anthems, those loyalty pledges play with numbers. They have a different numbering. It's a code. So how do you uphold that? You uphold that by repeating. So they make you repeat these things. They make you repeat these things as mantras. They make you repeat these things as hymns in their churches. So they make you repeat these things as you practicing witchcraft on yourself, aka upholding. You are upholding their program. Whether you know it or you don't know it, they don't care. So you're just upholding their program. You're just upholding their denominations. You're just upholding their titles. You're just upholding their government. So through repetition. So repetition is what upholds something all the way down to your prayers. You know, like when you're saying "Dai, Dai, Gai, Dai," so you are upholding that spell. So if you don't know the spell you are upholding, that is when now you find that you have witchcraft being practiced on you. You have magic being practiced on you. You are rocking yourself to sleep. You are allowing other people to practice their magic on you. Do you get it? So every time I'm coming to the hospital now, I'm picking a lot of all these things that people uphold. For example, if you come to a hospital, you'll find that a lot of people will be, when they're on your bed, they are wishing on a star. You know, now they can see what you call this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So you find that this particular person, when they are sleeping on their bed, they are lying on their hospital bed, in their mind, they don't even know if they are going to make it. So when people come to see them, they try to release. They want to tell them their secrets. You know, they don't even know if they are going to make it. So they are very vulnerable. So most of the time, you find that there's that whole energy of letting go. And what are they letting go? Their mentalities, their thoughts and feelings, okay? So if you know how to pick them up, if you're spiritually inclined to understand how to pick them up, it becomes very easy to pick them up. And this happens around places whereby you have people who are almost giving up on life. That would be places like hospitals, places where people have lost their energy. That would be in church places, and even at the cemeteries. Let the dead bury the dead, aka mathiko matagũkonie rĩ, mũndũ enda ndagĩka atĩa tiga gũtinda ũgĩthiĩ. Now, so now I think I have to go in. That was a quick one. That has got those are some of the videos cirehaga thĩna ciakorwo ciĩ nyenda-inĩ. So I let it sit. I'll not delete it, but I'll let it sit and see how long it sits before they delete it, because there's so much information you can give people, but high thoughts, that's why you have the plain high thoughts. Na mũndũ ũtoya kuga ndege no nginya ĩhĩtũke, wenda gũthondeka atĩ ĩrĩa yagĩrĩire kũhĩtũka nĩkĩ tũkĩaria ũhoro ũcio ngoegeraga haha mũthenya mathaa mau. Those are high thoughts. Now, so understand life. Understand things are not just things. Understand when they say Steve Austin 3:16, what they mean. Okay? Understand why they take some titles and they use them 555 as a cigarette. Okay? They know 5 is emotion. So every time you are touching your emotions onto something, aka a cigarette, because every time you smoke that cigarette, it makes you feel a certain way, a feeling. So you have to have cigarettes called 555. Sportsman. Okay? That's all witchcraft, and you even have to look at the numbers and how they follow each other. So any word that starts with an S has fire, sizzling, fire sizzles, fire transform, fire sways, fire makes a wave, fire is a fluid. So by default, when you take that smoke and you light it up and the smoke is rising with that S, so there's so this old man, you know, this father son, the father star. Sometimes you have to do what you call duties and obligations, whether you want to or you don't want to. Just depends on what you want to attach yourself with. Okay, the oko Karen hospital. Yeah, I'm saying so. We'll catch up today in the evening. So back when I get back at home, we'll be with Demi. We'll be with Demi White. but that one will be on the YouTube. So that will be on the YouTube channel. That will not be on Facebook. If I get another handset, I can set another Facebook, whereby now the Soul Group, who cannot catch us on YouTube, can be on the FB. But at the moment, I don't have a different handset, or even for IG, especially don't do IG makinegena makiuria ketwathire kuria mekuria IG. So once we get more handsets, and then we can set it up in a line, we can be streaming to multiple streams. But for sure, with Ndemi it will be at 8. I was thinking we do it at 8:30 or maybe 8:30. Just before 9. But that one will be just for YouTube. So see you that time. Bye.